Here, I'll let you know when I see it on this end. I'll let you know when I see it on this end. And maybe Tabitha, will you in the Zoom, will you direct message me? Will you direct message me once you've in the Facebook group tagged everyone? Because then I will go back and well, just let me know if you're able to do that. That's what I want to know. Will you send me, when I say DM, I mean a Zoom direct message? That'd be helpful. All right, now I will hit record, and now we shall hit the ground running. Boom. All right, y'all. Welcome back, everybody. It is Monday. So excited, so honored, so very honored to be a piece, a part of your journey as you're getting ready to replace your corporate income with your calling, your dream coaching business, right? This is more than a business. This is a calling. This is a mission. This is a legacy that you're leaving behind. I am honored not only by your time investment, but also your belief in yourself. And I know for many of you, you know, imposter syndrome and confidence and all of those things, right, are challenges when we try anything new, let alone building a business. But the very fact of you showing up here, and again, whether you're live on Zoom, whether you're watching from the Facebook group and you're watching me stream in from Facebook, whether you are, some of you are, you know, maybe on the West Coast and still at work, so you're hearing my words over a replay, that in and of itself is you investing your time and you believing in yourself and taking that step. So I really want you to celebrate that as one of your first, at least as it pertains to working with me, major wins. You're showing up, you're investing in yourself and making that time investment in doing the thing. Okay, so congratulations first and foremost. Myself, my team, we have loved Tabitha and I every day. You know, we're going back and forth in the DMs, and we have just loved watching you guys in, whether it's this Zoom, whether it's the Facebook group. Some of you, you know, I'm connecting with on calls in between sessions here. Tabitha's connecting with you in the DMs. We've loved watching you guys, you know, taking those next steps, feeling your energy, and truly, you know, there's this kind of feeling, right? I mean, I am preaching to the choir here. You guys know that there's this kind of buzz, there's this energy when you're working on something that you love, and that you're surrounded by other people doing the same thing. And I would tell you, it's been even amplified for me as I talk to some of you one-on-one. It's been great. So we've loved that, feeling your energy, and we are so excited for you to soar. So some of you have already signed on and will be working with me starting this month. We're going to be hitting the ground running. So again, every time that happens, I just thrilled, right, to see and to know the journey that you're about to embark upon, you know, for the academy or whatever form of the program that you end up signing up for with me. So I know what's ahead, and that gets me really excited for you. All right, say hello in the chat. Let us know who's here. Sometimes, and it's okay to be a silent watcher, but you know, drop me an emoji in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling today. How about that? Pick an emoji that represents how you're feeling today. Doesn't have to be anabolic, can be however you feel. You feel how you feel. But let us know. That kind of helps us get an idea of who's with us today. Don't mind, this is my little ice necklace here. It kind of helps me cool off under these hot lights that I have in front of the computer here. So drop me an emoji. Let me know how you're feeling tonight. And again, just quick reminder, after today, we only have one more day left of this entire workshop. Take that off. Now it's bothering me. One more day of the entire workshop. Tomorrow is our last day of the workshop, and it will be a great final session. I was very intentional about the topic. I'm going to be walking you through the 5 mistakes that coaches make that prevent them from hitting that 6-figure mark and having a successful corporate to coach transition. So tomorrow is going to kind of give you that. We're going to zoom out, and we've been kind of zoomed in. We're going to zoom out and give you that 30,000 foot view overview. We're not only going to say mistake, mistake, mistake tomorrow. We're going to talk about how do you avoid the mistake. Okay. All right. Before we get going here, everybody who has booked a discovery call is in the running for the fast acting corporate the 6-figure coach academy bootcamp bonus bundle. So if you have booked a discovery call, and just to be clear, because I've done two different types of calls with people. I've done connect calls, which are typically over the phone. That's more us just, getting to know each other. I'm getting to know your goals and your challenges. So that connect call was, kind of a phone connection. We didn't go over, pricing or packages. There's that type of call. And then there's this final, right here, this button, the discovery call. The discovery call is where we really do that kind of official, you're doing your final bit of research here on, if you do want to take the next step forward, what does that look like? Right? What are the different ways I can work with Betty or her team and her team? What are the different price points? Of course, I'm happy to answer questions and make a recommendation based on what you share with me, what I think might be the next right fit, whether that's with me or not, whether that's with me or someone else. So do book that discovery call for a couple of reasons. One, you will get, information you need to know. You need to be doing research on business support. If you're serious about your business, you just can't build it in a bubble. You just can't. I will tell you, I've never been without a business coach. So it's important that you do your research. Okay. So that's part of the discovery call. Also on the discovery call, I will be helping to identify your challenge, your goal, and the gap. So I'm going to be helping to identify, and for a lot of you, you're just getting started, but I do want to kind of figure out, because every person's different, what is in the way of you potentially achieving your goals. So we do want to identify that gap. So we will do that on the discovery session. And then I will talk you through different program and pricing options and make a recommendation. And I'll be very transparent, right? If I feel like it's not a fit, or if you feel like that, right, we'll at least have that knowledge through having a discussion. So again, you need to book your call by Tuesday, your discovery call. So Tabitha is going to drop into the chat a direct link to book the discovery call. Tabitha will also drop into the chat a link to this information page. And this information page draws out the entire program. And Tabitha will drop into the chat so you can review what the program's all about. And you'll see buttons in this information page once again for you to book a discovery call. So if you want to be in the running for this bonus bundle of up to $8,000, you have until tomorrow to book your discovery call. Now you have until tomorrow. Now, if you've already had that call with me where we've discussed pricing and packages, you have until tomorrow to join the program. You have until tomorrow to join the program in order to get this bootcamp bonus bundle. Okay, so it's midnight Eastern Standard Time tomorrow is kind of the cutoff for everything. Okay, the replays come down. You have until, if you haven't had a discovery call where we talk pricing options and package options, you have until tomorrow to at least get it on the calendar. Okay, and even let's say, you put it on the calendar for Thursday of this upcoming week, at least get it, I want to see it come through by Tuesday so that, ethically, you're eligible just the same as anybody else, right? So if you haven't booked the discovery call, you have until tomorrow to, at minimum, get it on the calendar. It's okay if it's, later on this week, but get it on the calendar. And if I've already run a call with you and we talked through pricing and packaging, you have until tomorrow midnight to move forward with us. and to submit that first payment to lock in your spot in order to redeem the bootcamp bonus bundle. Okay. Hopefully that is clear. Those 3 different deadlines that are happening tomorrow at midnight. If it's not clear, please, by all means, drop into the chat so I can make it clear. All right. So bootcamp bonus bundle, quick reminder, $1,000 to $3,000 off, whether you pay in monthly installments or pay in full. And again, we'll talk more about what that looks like from a pricing standpoint during the discovery session. You do need to be aware, bonus number 2 is only going to the first 5 people. Okay, only to the first 5 people. This part, you know, a bandwidth issue. This is part, just something special that I'm offering. Only the first 5 people are going to get a private 60-minute deep dive strategy session with me on top of the program, right? Whether they join me in the group or the one-on-one, they're going to get this private 1-hour strategy session. This is going to be highly customized. I'm going to have you fill out an introductory questionnaire. I'm going to get all your info. Even if you've just started, you're like, Betty, I don't have any info to give. You do. I still want to get your ideas for your niche, even if you don't know. I want to get your goals, not just financial, but in general. What are your goals? The coaching business is a bridge to get you closer to your not just financial goals, but the life goals, the way you want to live your life. So I want to get your financial goals and your life goals out of you so we can build a business together that is going to be that bridge to allow you to live life the way you want to live life. Okay. So you're going to fill out that form. I'm going to study it. For those of you that have already started your business, I'm going to get all your collateral from you. And I'm going to be studying in it, auditing it. And on that first call, again, it's customized. It depends where you're at in your trajectory. We're going to roll right in. For some of you, we're going to spend time on your niche and your messaging. And for some of you, we're going to spend time doing an audit. For all of you, I'm going to build out a comprehensive strategy on where I want you to focus first in the program so we can move into getting those milestones hit, getting your specific goals hit, and getting an ROI. Only the first 5 people who both get accepted and join the program. Bonus 3, we're going to optimize your social media profile with an audit. For those of you that attended my former client Bethany's, when I interviewed her on Thursday, if you didn't watch that, she really gave some great information on what it took behind the scenes for her to be making some of these big sales. She had 14K months, she had a 25K month, and she talked about one of her most recent sales. This is somebody that found her on LinkedIn, and that doesn't happen by accident. Okay, her profile was optimized. Her posting is strategic. Right? She's using our content marketing calendar. Her profile's optimized in the way that we've laid it out for her. So this is a really important bonus. Bonus 4 is your coach in a pocket, 30-day Voxer access to me. We can go back and forth. It's like a walkie-talkie app so that you feel super, super supported as you kick this off. And, you know, anytime you have questions, you can reach out to me. And then last, this is a lot of fun, is a ticket to a virtual half-a-day live cash injection workshop. Again, this is going to be, I'm telling you guys, my business model is boutique business model. And when I say boutique business model, what I mean by that is I don't do massive quantity. So I'm not trying to scale to 100 clients, 200 clients. I'm trying to do more about quality. Right? I'd rather work with a smaller group of people that I'm hand-holding to get all the way to the finish line, that I can hot seat coach everybody on every call. So this workshop is going to be nice because you're not going to be lost in the sauce. There's going to be you know, an intimate group of us, and I'll be, you know, hot seat coaching you, and together we'll be taking what you learned from this workshop and taking it to the next level. So anyways, that's my TED Talk. Bootcamp bonus bundle, up to $8,000 worth of bonuses, but it goes away Tuesday at midnight. So again, if we've talked pricing already, you have until Tuesday at midnight to submit payment. If we haven't talked pricing yet, then book that discovery call so we can review your options, and then you can make an informed choice. All right, really important. So that's all I got for you. Let's rock and roll. Okay, so Tabitha dropped the links in there. And then let me just scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Okay, so Tabitha, you were able to tag. That's good. All right, I'm gonna just hop in here as well to the stream here, and on my end, make sure I'm able to tag that as well over here. Tabitha, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about, but I promise you, I won't mess anything up. I won't break anything. All right, let me look in the comments before we kick off. So let's see here. Saliana. Okay, so some of you guys have questions. And so any questions you have, these are good. I'm going to scroll back. And as I'm doing the hot seat tonight, I'm just going to start at the top and go through all your questions. So that'll be great. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. So Saliana, I thought I sent you the resources. I thought I sent you the resources, Saliana. I thought I sent you a Facebook DM. But anybody that had a call with me, that's the other reason to book a discovery call, is you do get resources. You get a Google Doc of all the scripts, the inner circle tracker. So Saliana, I'll DM you after this. I'm pretty sure I sent it to you. It might be buried, it might be in a junk inbox, but either way, we'll connect after this. And if you're still waiting on that, I am sending that out as I do calls, right? So just be patient. And yeah, that's right. You don't have Facebook. So it might be in your spam email. But anyway, Salian, I'll reach out to you after this. But rest assured, Tabitha and I have a spreadsheet of every person that's booked a discovery call. So you all will get, I'm going to flip you out the resource. And that's good for me to remember, Saliana, that you don't have Facebook, so that we make sure we send it via email. All right, let's hit the ground running. So I'm going to pull up a couple things here. I think I shall start by pulling up some of the Q&As here. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. So for tonight's session, again, I just want to like level set. All right. I want you to stay focused, keep having fun, keep loving the journey. Get ready to take some notes. I believe there's a spot in the workbook, maybe to take notes on the Q&A session, but regardless, take notes because you'll get a lot of good insight from other people asking questions, even if you don't have your own questions. Okay. All right. Now, again, if you ask a question previously, we tried our best to gather up all the questions and compile them. If for some reason you're like, "Ooh, where's my question?" Again, this is your chance. Drop it into the chat. All right. I'm going to kick it off with, I think what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen. And this is itty bitty type. So don't worry. Promise you, I'm going to make it bigger. My eyeballs can't read that either, even with my glasses. So I'm going to kick off. I have a couple questions here. I think then I'll go into the Zoom questions. So there's a couple questions. I'm going to start off with these two questions. Then I'm going to go into the Zoom questions. Then I'm going to go into in the Facebook group for the homework tab. There were a bunch of niche statements. And if you're live on this call, I'll probably call out your name and say, "Hey, is so-and-so on this call?" And if you are, drop something into the chat or come off mute, something, let me know you're here. And I'll be doing some niche feedback. And then we have some other just kind of general questions that I'll be going through as well. So I'm going to kick it off here. And again, just, you can drop your questions in the chat. Christina asked, "What is your favorite booking tool that does the work for you? Free or low cost, preferably?" Now, I'm giving my own preference here. And, of course, I'm going to say, as I'm sure you realize, Christina, and everybody, knows, there's so many tools. That's again, it's the blessing and the curse, right? There's so many tools that you could use when building a business. And so it's like great, but then it's like, how do you choose? How do you choose when there's that many tools? So I'm just going to tell you, for me, I am using Acuity. That's just my own personal preference. I feel like, for me personally, It seems to be easy to use. It's not rocket science. It's not wild to figure it out. So that's what I use, Acuity. If I'm not mistaken, Acuity has a free trial. I don't think it's a very long free trial. So, just again, you can go to acuityscheduling.com. I think it might be like a week-long free trial. And then it might be like the basic package, maybe like $16 a month or something like that. But there's a pricing list on acuityscheduling.com. That's what I use. The other one that a lot of my clients use is called Calendly. Calendly. And that's the other one. And the pricing on that, again, I believe the pricing on that is either, low cost or again, free trial up until you get to the part where you have to pay. But what I've seen the majority of coaches use that are just starting out are typically one of the two. But to be fair, right? And you guys go ahead, we've got a mastermind of coaches in here. If you're not using one of these two tools, or if you are even, feel free, y'all, to drop into the chat. What are you using for scheduling? Feel free. And if you're sharing, feel free to also say, do you like it? If you don't, why not? Like, feel free to not only share what you're using, but do you recommend it? Is there a reason why you like it or you don't? But those are my personal top two, and I'm currently using Acuity. Now, I started to type out this answer here, but remember in the academy, right? The Corporate to Six-Figure Coach Academy, we, this is just like the first question to ask around systems. There's a lot of different pieces of the machine, and there's essentially two systems we have to build: back of house, which is operations, right, and admin. So that would include things like scheduling, and front of house. We got to build that machine, which are things like client attraction, marketing, etc. So, this is a whole lesson in the academy where we go through tool options, tool recommendations, pros and cons, because it's not, there are pros and cons of each. Of course, I'll make recommendations based on what I know and staying up to date. And that's something we'll deep dive into. I will say one last thing about this, Christina. Eventually, so this may not be something you dive into right away if you're just getting started, but eventually, and this is I want you guys to just kind of put a pin in this, but you'll want to get a CRM, client relationship management system. So don't freak out about that. Don't worry. Don't, oh, I don't know what that is. How much, this, that, and the other. That when you're just starting out, you don't need to really sweat it with the CRM, but a client relationship management system, that's something at some point we want to look at with you. And that's something we walk you through in the academy. Why am I bringing that up? The reason I'm bringing up the tool, a CRM or a client relationship management system, is because that's one of those tools that has oftentimes all in one, meaning you'll be able to send out a contract through your CRM. You'll be able to connect your CRM to your payment, getting payments. You'll be able to have people fill out an introductory survey, through an onboarding survey through your CRM. And some CRMs also have scheduling tools. Okay. So again, this is a rabbit hole that I don't want to go too far down tonight, but I'm just put a pin in that. That's something we'll cover in the academy. Okay. I'm just going to pop into the chat real quick. So Carol says you can also create your own CRM on tools like Notion. Ooh, Carol, very, very cool, which is free but manual. Yeah, so that's where we kind of got to look at our strengths and also just the idea that when it comes to tools in your business, any tool in your business, you got to ask yourself when it comes to that tool, it's either the tool will either require of you in terms of setting it up, it's either going to require of you time right? So like, for example, Carol's great example, a tool like Notion, it will require time, right? Manually, you have to create that. Or for some tools, it will require money, right? You got to go out and pay somebody to either give you the tool, build the tool, set up the tool, whatever. So again, something I want you to think about with the Corporate to Six Figure Coach Academy, we really aim to position ourselves as your one-stop shop. Now, does that mean, every single tool, like we're going to give you a CRM, blah, 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 blah? No, there's too many nuances there. We're going to teach you and train you how to select the right tools for your business and talk about how to get them speaking to each other. But that being said, when it comes to especially front of house tools, so marketing tools that are going to be used to attract clients, we have built many of those out for you. We've built a website template in the Academy that you can plug and play. We have built out a lead magnet template. We hired I hired a social media graphic designer and built out a library of social media graphics on Canva for my coaches to be able to use and customize to their brand colors and logo. So I do want you to think about when it comes to tools, especially front of house marketing, you do when it comes to any program that you join in terms of your business, try to find a program that's an all-in-one program so that you don't have to go out there and I got to have a lead magnet. Okay, I got to spend 10 hours building a lead magnet by myself. Or now I got to go on Fiverr and hire somebody to create a lead magnet, and I still got to spend time going back and forth and giving them edits, right? You really want to think about time and money for yourself, right? That's the idea of the Academy. It's meant to be your one-stop shop. Okay. All right. Kim says, I use book like a boss. Oh, that sounds cool, Kim. Very cool. Still going. Yeah. Calendly. Yes. Tabitha got that correctly. Yeah. Christina uses Calendly, but having issues with it, recognizing booked times on my Google Calendar. So running into potential double booking issues. Help desk requests submitted. Yeah. I will say too, yeah, that can be with the Google Calendar an issue sometimes, with something like Calendly, for example, where, Google Calendar doesn't always pull onto that calendar. So it's a good point, Christina, to bring up. Okay. Michael says, does your scheduler connect with your accounting software? What accounting software are you using to track billing, clients, etc., operations? Okay. What accounting software are we using to attract billing, client? Okay, hold on a second here. Let me pull it up. And I will say too, when it comes to the accounting software, this is something that I did partner with my tax accountant to figure out from them what they prefer, because they're going to have their hands in that cookie jar a lot of the time. For us, we are using QuickBooks for our accounting software. We're using QuickBooks. And again, QuickBooks, their help desk, at least when I was setting it up originally, was helpful. A help desk being helpful, imagine that. So they did walk me through the whole setup to connect QuickBooks to our business checking and business credit card, so that all of that was being pulled into QuickBooks automatically. And then we gave our accountant access to our QuickBooks, and the accountant has then, dipped in and helped categorize, things coming in, so that when it comes time to do tax time, it's not a scramble, essentially. And again, I'm kind of giving you the high level answer here, so I hope it's helpful. And then in the Academy, we dive much deeper into it, but hopefully that's helpful. I'm kind of looking at your questions backwards here right now. Okay, so let's see here. Uh, Becky says, have you worked with a Gallup certified strengths coaches? I have. Definitely. I've worked with Gallup certified strengths coaches, meaning like clients of mine. Absolutely. I've had clients that are Gallup certified strength coaches. And, uh, I myself did not get certification as a strengths coach. But that being said, when I first started my business and I was a career coach, more specifically, I was helping unfulfilled corporate to director level women in corporate. I was helping them find their purpose and passion. So they were kind of unfulfilled. They were successful on paper, but unfulfilled. Anyways, point being, so while I wasn't certified, we did talk a lot about strengths. I sent them the Strengths Finder book. So that I remember using a lot of that, but certainly never claimed to be certified. But that being said, I've definitely had plenty of clients that are certified in that, whether it's for career coaching or leadership coaching or purpose coaching, or something else. So, and again, as I'm kind of going through Zoom here and looking at your questions, give me in the chat if I'm confusing you more than being clear here, and I'll circle back on your question. Okay, I'm kind of scrolling up the chat here. Okay, I'm looking at your emojis to see how you're feeling. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, I'm liking these emojis. Okay, Michael's on fire. Go, Michael. So iPhone, I should know by now who's my iPhone. iPhone says, hi, Betty. So I'm dying to remember who's iPhone again. Who's iPhone again? Let me know who iPhone is. Amy's got the emoji. Ooh, Amy, rough week already, day one, or is it more just all the content we've covered so far? So Amy, reach out to me if there's something I can do to help with the brain explosion. Okay, scrolling up here too. Okay, people needing the replay. Yep. Okay, Kim asked the question, when does the academy start? When does the academy start? So next week. We're going to hit the ground running. So again, we have people joining this week, and the process by joining looks like this. We have the discovery call, right? That's when we talk about pricing and program options. You select how you want to work with me, right? Which of my programs, group or one-on-one. Do you want to submit monthly payments? Do you want to pay in full? What, blah, blah, blah. So we figure that out. So step one's a discovery call, right? And those have been happening. Those continue to happen. And again, Tabitha, if you could drop into the chat, link for a discovery call. I really do recommend. I mean, I feel like I've spoken to almost everybody. I feel like I've spoken to almost, well, I shouldn't say everybody, not everybody that's registered, but I feel like at minimum, my Zoomers. I've spoken to most of my Zoomers. So if I haven't spoken to you, I really would book a discovery call so that you leave this academy, or so that you leave this workshop crystal clear on the workshop, what happens after the workshop, whether that's with me or somebody else. I want you to know next steps, and I want you to know what business support with us looks like. So anyways, so Kim, back to your question. So step one, discovery call. Step two, once you run the discovery call, once you submit payment, the journey begins. So, whatever that looks like. And if you want to do the monthly payment, you submit that. If you want to do the pay in full, you submit that. So whatever your option is, whatever you decide. So once that comes through, right, then you're going to get your onboarding packet. And I say your onboarding packet, but it's a virtual onboarding packet. So for example, Kim, if you joined this week, you submit payment, you're going to get your onboarding packet, and that'll have everything you need in it, right? You'll sign your agreement, you'll get a link to the On-Demand Learning Center. So this week you would get immediate access to the On-Demand Learning Center. I'm going to give you some onboarding surveys, questionnaires to fill out. If you're one of the first 5 people to join, and I will say, this is when they start to disappear. And by the way, if you're like, ooh, I whatever, I didn't get my payment link yet, or I can't, I didn't book a discovery call with Betty yet, whatever, reach out to Tabitha and we can, figure out how to bump you if you want to get one of those top 5 and, they're starting to disappear. So Kim, this week, you would get all of your material, all of your collateral, the link to the on-demand learning center. You would get the link to join the other coaches in our virtual Facebook group. So you would get all of that. You would get your surveys to fill out so I could learn more about, your goals, etc. You would also get a link if you're one of the top 5 to schedule your private kickoff call with me. And then the official group call is going to start next week. The official group call is going to start next week. So we essentially are going to get all geared up for it. We'll have our private kickoff call if you're one of the top 5, and then it'll start next week. Okay, scrolling. Okay, so again, I'm going to come back, Carol, in a second and do your niche statement. I'm going to circle back there. And Kim says they attended all sessions last week. Yes, Kim, go Kim. And I definitely got information on how to implement this 3-step acquisition system. I love that, Kim. I love that. And again, part of joining the academy is that bootcamp bonus bundle. We will be doing that cash injection workshop and take all that you've learned, take it to the next level, right? So further implementation and learning. And Saliana, well done. Decided on your niche and updated your profile on LinkedIn. Well done. Well done. All right. So let's see here. Now, Saliana also asked, did you say we can double the fee of $300? And Tabitha's just looking for clarity. Which fee are you referring to? So I think I know, but Saliana, drop into the chat if I'm off here. I had mentioned to you guys previously that when it comes to pricing, and again, I want to be very clear, pricing, there's work we have to do on deciding where to land the plane with your pricing. Everybody's going to be different. Okay. It depends. Your pricing is going to depend on a lot of things. But I kind of made an overarching statement when it came to pricing. And when it comes to the fact, which I'm sure most of you know, that coaches that for IPEC people, that level 4, or for non-IPEC people, I'm talking about that compassionate heart, right? We're here to serve, oftentimes for whatever reason, they're undercharging, yet coaches are the ones who are coaching people to make transformational changes. So I'm going to get off that pedestal for a minute. And what I had said earlier on in the week, we do not charge by the hour because we are creating a package and we are charging for the package, the entire transformational journey. But on a side note, I'm just saying to you guys, the coaches, coach talk, coach to coach. This isn't something we talk about with clients. We don't talk about an hourly rate because it's not an hourly rate, but coach to coach, as we build out your value, my recommendation for y'all, again, especially those of you that have gotten out and you've done training on coaching or consulting or whatever, field you're going into, you've done either you got your certification or you've done training. Think of all the time you spent, think of all the money you spent, think of all the practicing you've done. So what I recommended is hourly in your own brain. This isn't what we're going to verbalize. I wouldn't recommend that you ever build out a package for yourself. And I'm talking about you guys, the coaches that have been certified, been trained. I wouldn't charge less than $300 an hour. And I'm talking to you guys. I say you because I'm not giving myself this speech. I'm giving you guys this speech as starter coaches, because you're not just rolling in off the street like, oh, where am I? I'm going to be a coach. You have done the training, right? I know some of you, I'll say for as an example, my certification, it was, what's IPEC? It was like a 6 to 8 month certification, something like that. We invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy. And your skills are valuable. So my recommendation is get out of the headspace of I'm not allowed to charge. And I'm giving this speech, not to you, Sally, just in general, to everybody here. And I want you to, when you're starting to build out your package, your coaching sessions, you guys should be being paid at minimum $300 an hour. Now, when you said, did you say we can double that fee? Listen, your hourly fee is going to depend on a lot of things. right? It's going to depend on the value, how long you've been doing it, your skill set. It's going to depend on the results that you're able to get people, and then your package in general. So when you say the double it, Saliana, so I want to answer that two ways. Your hourly fee over time, and again, we don't verbalize this to people, but just in our own minds, when we do the calculations, that will increase over time as you get better at your craft, as you continue to get training, as you perfect the training that you already had, as you start to see results. That's the big one. At the end of the day, right? Your ideal client avatars are wondering less about the certification on your wall, and they're wondering more about, will I get results? So as you coach clients and get them results and get those testimonials, your hourly rate in your own brain will be creeping up over time, right? Over time. Now, in terms of the doubling, just in general, my recommendation, and this is what I teach in the Academy in Module 2, I help you guys build a package, and we're going to create a package that has so much value. It's going to include a signature method and deliverables. That package should be valued at approximately, this is what we're shooting for approximately double the price point. So let me give you an example. If you create, if you're my client, Saliana, and we create this incredible coaching package for your niche, right? And this is part of my job, right? I'm going to pull out of your brain the different pieces that would go into the signature method for your niche. We're going to pull that together. Then we're going to look at the deliverables, the stuff that goes with the package. And when I say stuff, I'm talking about how much access do they get to you? What kind of information are they getting from you? What kind of resources are they getting from you? Is there a community element involved? Again, this is all what I teach in the Academy. Okay, this is a whole module. So we want to create double the value, approximately, of the actual price. Because the idea then is, yes, coaching will be an investment, but it's very important that your clients or potential clients understand the value. And for people that have never been coached before, right? Especially now, it'd be great if we're, our people that have been coached before that understand the value. But especially if people aren't very familiar with coaching, you have to help bring to life in their terms, civilian terms, what the value looks like, because they don't know. Okay, so that's another TED Talk, all these mini TED Talks. Okay, I'm just scrolling up on the Zoom chat here. Okay, I think I got the ones at the top here. Okay, Solana says, love it. Thank you. You're welcome. Becky, can you address working full time in corporate America while building your business? Oh boy, can I ever. So many different places to go with that. Becky, do you either want to come off mute or drop into the chat specifically what part you'd like me to address? I mean, otherwise I can just give you a high level on my, just in general, but do you either want to come off mute or put in the chat a little bit more specifically what you're looking for me to address in terms of working full-time corporate and building the business at the same time? And Tabitha, I don't know if people are able to unmute by themselves, but otherwise, Becky, you can put in the chat. Okay, looking for balance. Haven't shared my side hustle at work. Got it. Yeah, absolutely. So a couple quick things, Becky. So of course, my niche, right, is corporate to six-figure coach. Those are my people. That's part of my unique value proposition versus other business coaches out there that are just like, hey, I'm coaching new coaches. I'm coaching new coaches, right? I'm doing more than that. I have a more specific niche. Most of my people are coming to me in a full-time gig. Not all of them, but most of them. Most of my people are coming to me from a corporate job. Okay. So in terms of the balance piece, okay, first thing I want to say is there's a module for that. I feel it's like there's an app for that. There's a module for that in the On-Demand Learning Center. So it will be part of what I teach in the Academy, right? That's my whole shtick, right? Is how do you balance that out? But high level, I will say this, I did it. You know, I worked a corporate job while I was building my coaching business on the side, and I had numerous jobs, numerous corporate jobs, and that I, you know, had while I was building my coaching business on the side. I say that because I got let go of twice, count them twice. So for anybody that's feeling bad about either, oh, I just got let go or I'm about to, I got let go twice, count them twice. That's why I had a couple jobs while I was building my business. Um, so yes, I've done it. My clients are doing it. So the first thing I want to say is it is possible. Okay, that's number one. Number two, so part of what I teach in the academy is one, I have created this time audit tool or spreadsheet where essentially we're going to do a time audit of both what you got going on at your corporate job. Believe it or not, I'm getting my hands that deep into the cookie jar. So we're going to do a time audit of how you're spending your day and I know every day is different in the corporate world as it is in the entrepreneurial world, but we are going to do a time audit of what you got going on in your corporate job. We're also going to do a time audit of your personal time. You get home from work, then what happens, right? And what are we doing with this audit? We are trying to create space for two things, Becky. One is downtime and self-care for you. So you can put the mask on yourself first, right? And again, I'll just, share this with you guys. I'm pretty transparent. I was diagnosed 3 years ago with cancer. So I am a cancer survivor. I'm a cancer thriver. But I share that with you just to say, when I was diagnosed, thanks, Saliana. And I'm, listen, unfortunately, so many of us have been affected by it in some way or another. But I'm sharing that with you to say, at the time that I was getting chemo and radiation and surgeries and all this other craziness, because I had set up my business the right way with systems, structure, and support, I randomly, and I'm not saying this is normal, I'm just saying I randomly had one of the best years I've ever had in business when I got diagnosed. Very, very bizarre. And it felt like a fluke. But the truth was, I had built a system, I had built in support, and I had built in system support and structure, right? So my point is, without health, we have nothing. Right. So it is really important that we have that bit. So we're going to do a time audit. So you've got that downtime. Okay. We're also doing a time audit because we want to make sure you have enough time carved out to work on your coaching business. Okay. So that's number one that I want to say that we'll do in the academy is that time audit. I've got things danging all over the place. Number two that I want to say, where's the dinging coming from? Like, there it is. Number two, in terms of balance, okay? What we do in the academy is for each of you, and this is customized because each of you is living a wildly different life. Although I will say every client I work with is pressed for time. It would be wild to work with a client that's like, yeah, I'm filing my nails. I'm eating bonbons. Like they're all pressed for time. So the second thing we do in the academy is create what I call, and what you've probably heard before, a CEO schedule. A CEO schedule. What's that? Well, it's when you sit down to work on your coaching business. The problem is, even if you guys after the workshop were to say, goodbye, Betty, thanks for the memories. I'm gonna go work on my coaching business. I promise I'll work on it 4 hours a week. If you are not spending that time wisely, working on things with the highest ROI, the time's out the window. So part of what we help you do to have that balance is create a CEO schedule. So you're working on the right things that are going to get you the ROI in your business. And the other stuff that's going to be just a waste of time, that's my job, is for you to come to me and say, Betty, I'm overwhelmed. I got all this craziness. And that's my job. What you're hiring me to do is to say, put all that aside. We're focusing on this. So again, Becky, I hope that answered the balance piece of it. Okay. It's going to be part time audit. We carve out the time, and then part CEO schedule. Okay. Yeah, Becky, that's so great. I'm looking forward to our call too. And yeah, thank you. And, listen, yeah, another story for another time, but the cancer journey, I mean, let me say this. Boy, am I filled with so much gratitude that I am a coach, and that I have the coaching skills, and that I was trained on mindset, because getting a diagnosis and then dealing with the roller coaster of emotions that come with, going through that journey, how incredible it is to understand, mindset and limiting beliefs and fear and all the things that we are trained as coaches to help our clients with. So being armed and dangerous with those tools was a big deal. And I will last thing say, one of my greatest moments, I guess. I've worked with numerous clients who've come into the academy, also cancer survivors, some of which have become cancer coaches. And I will say that is a gap in this space that is so needed. We have our incredible doctors and nurses and medical staff that are amazing, life-saving. We have counselors, we have support groups, amazing. But there's missing, that coaching piece is missing, because I don't want to just hobble along dealing with the C word. I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. So that's where the coaching bit has been an incredible piece of it. Okay, just scrolling up here. And Christina says, here's as an American Cancer Society volunteer. Oh, bless you, Christina. Incredible. See, angels, heroes, all the things. Cancer survivors are special, as are you. As are you. I mean, I can't say enough how grateful I feel towards people like you doing that volunteer work. Okay, I do want to address one more thing, Becky, and then I'm going to keep going with the questions. I haven't shared my side hustle at work. So again, I do have a group of clients, probably the majority, or maybe at least half, that are not able to tell their job that they're working on the side hustle. They're not able to go on LinkedIn and go wild because their job might have a problem with it. So we do take that into account. We are going to take that into account. So in terms of building your business on the side, and I will say, I would recommend, unless you went through what I went through and you're already laid off and whatever, keep your job while you're building the business on the side. Because what I help my clients do is that by the time they make their transition, it's a smooth transition. Your foundation should be built. Your systems should be in place. Your client attraction machine should be running. You should technically, and I shouldn't use the word shoulding you guys. But what I want for my clients and what I teach is that, we want you to be making your monthly financial target, at least for the first year, on a consecutive basis, so that it's a validated market, not just with research, but you're seeing the money come in on the side. So the transition happens and it's not a freak out, mass hysteria. It's like, great, I already got the thing built. I'm already bringing in money. That's the way I did it. That's the way I teach my clients to do it. So Becky, there are kind of workarounds that if we can't, use LinkedIn to like, oh, look at me, I'm launching. There's very specific, and I can talk about it with you on the call tomorrow. There's very specific side doors that I have my clients use to get clients on the side, so we can validate the market and bring in money, enough money for you to feel confident making the transition. Okay, so I addressed that question. Scrolling. Oh, Amy's iPhone. My head is exploding because of my day job. Yes, darn it. I'm happy to be here on this call. I'm so happy you're here. Question. Second to your inner circle for clients. what is the best way to get new clients? Second to the inner circle for clients, what is the best way to get new clients? Great question. So that, and I'm going to give you the high level, but that is essentially the academy, right? That's where we take it to the next level. So the workshop is me telling you guys, kick it off with your warm leads, kick it off with your network, kick it off with the people who already know, like, and trust you. That'll probably get you your first handful of clients. And then once you join the academy, right, it's important to have that niche in place. So the niche and the messaging is going to be part of what attracts people to you. So that's going to be one thing, the niche and the messaging. The other thing is going to be profile optimization. So like Bethany shared, and it doesn't have to be LinkedIn. We talk about which profile, which social media thing to use. I suggest you select one to start with, one. And we can worry about adding on more platforms later, just one to start with. And what we teach in the academy, and I'll just say this high level, it's going to be part showing up and serving and providing value at scale. So I'm going to say that again. How she says, what is the best way to get new clients? Second than the inner circle. Once we've built the foundation of your business, you know the direction you're going, the who you're helping, the urgent problem you're solving. We need you to be able to show up as a thought leader, and you show up each day and you serve and add value at scale. So some examples of that, right? You guys see me right now, right? What am I doing? I'm not charging for this. I'm doing a live, Zoom here and doing some coaching. I'm providing value, right? So I would never, and this is the ick. If you guys have ever gotten the DMs where people are like, hey, you want to book a sales call? Hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to buy my thing? Nightmare. Doesn't work. So the idea is you got to earn the right to ask somebody, hey, let's hop on a call. Let's talk. I think I have a solution for you. You got to earn that right. So in the academy, we position you as a thought leader in your niche, in your space, and you show up and you provide value. Now, you don't have to be live like I'm doing on a video right now. You could do, art blogging. You could go live on video. You could do a podcast. We help you with content marketing and strategic post. I'm just giving you a plethora of options. We customize which one makes the most sense for you when you join the academy. Maybe you can't go wild on LinkedIn. So instead you decide, I'm going to do a private Zoom call with my prospects, or I'm going to create a Facebook group. It depends on your people and where your people hang out. So we discover that in the academy. So the first thing I want you to think about, what's the best way to get new clients? You can't just say, hey, buy my thing. You got to serve and provide value at scale. And so that is, how you show that you're a thought leader, an expert at a topic. And that is also how people get a taste of, okay, I like that person's vibe. I like their energy. I like their business model. I like the way they think, right? And again, doesn't have to be video. It could be, plethora of other things, but we got to get you out there. We got to get your message out there. We got to have you providing value at scale. So that's one. Now, what works hand in hand with that is going to be outreach. And when I say outreach, okay, I am not talking about sending a message and saying, hey, buy my thing, or some kind of other icky, sticky, awkward, like MLM, like none of that. Okay. So where people struggle, not just coaches, but in general, any kind of virtual entrepreneur, is they don't understand there's actually a funnel, there's a script towards how you build relationships with people online. Now, I'm looking at some of you guys on this call, and I know some people are natural networkers and, they don't maybe need a script as much, but we teach in the program how you build relationships with people virtually. And then it becomes a 2-for-1, right? So maybe, for example, Amy, I'm getting to know you. I'm like in the DMs, I send you a Facebook DM. I'm like, hey, I see that you and I are both in this Facebook group for coaches. tell me more about you. What kind of coaching business? And you're like, oh, I'm just starting. I don't know my niche yet. And, I say, oh, I did a blog on that last week. Or, you know what? I haven't touched on that topic yet. I'm a business coach. I'm going to write a blog on that for you. And I'm going to send you the link. How does that sound? You're like, oh my gosh. Okay, great. And so I'm providing value. And then we work down this funnel and I'm identifying, like, is this person a potentially good fit? I'm asking the right questions, right? I'm also providing you value. And then we work in the academy on timing. At a certain point, this is another thing where coaches will kind of struggle is they'll talk and talk and talk online. This is what I see people do. Either they don't do any outreach, and I'm like, you have to talk to conversations equal clients. Conversations equal clients. Now you can decide how you want to do those conversations, in person, on stage, online, but you got to be having conversations in some way or another, right? So either I see people do no outreach, or they're doing a lot of talking, but the talking isn't going anywhere. So at a certain point, it's like, hey, we've been talking for this long about this topic. I think I'd be doing you a disservice by not letting you know this is what I help people with. Let's talk. What do you think? Are you open tomorrow? So again, Amy, that's a whole module 4, but that's a taste. That's a little taste of it. Okay. Hope that was helpful. Okay. I'm just scrolling. Michael. Bye, Michael. Okay, so let me go back here to the Q&A. Let's go back to the Q&A. Oh, I think it was here. Yeah. Okay, Rocco had a question. Rocco asked, what niches or niches, however you guys like to say it, can be served with pure coaching, and which are more likely to need a hybrid that includes training or consulting? Okay, good question. And here's what I would say for Rocco. Honestly, any niche can be served with pure coaching. Any niche can be served with pure coaching. It's more about how you set that expectation for your clients ahead of time. Okay. That's why I tell my clients, or I tell you guys, even if I'm not working with you yet, my style, I am a coach consultant. I'm somewhere in between. Okay. Now, personally, I do think in the business space, in the business arena, it does require a certain level of consulting, because we are literally I'm not just coaching you, right? When you're building a business from scratch, you don't know what you don't know. So there comes a point where I'm asking you questions and it's like we hit a wall. So in my world, in my mind, and these are, this is what I'm saying. I think that the business space requires a certain level of consulting, because we are teaching you how to build a business from scratch. Or if you've started a business, we're helping you, tweak or pivot so that you're getting the results you need. Other than that, you get to choose how you want to show up in your business. You get to choose, each of you guys. So you get to decide, do I want to be pure coaching, which is, questions, and, I'm not showing up with an answer in mind. I'm asking questions, and my job as a coach is to ask the right questions. Do I want to be pure coach, or do I want to be pure consultant, or do I want to be somewhere in the middle, coach consultant? You get to decide. Okay. And again, we would then outline that. We want it on your website, what your style is. We eventually, when you can do this, want it on your LinkedIn profile. And we want to talk about it on the sales call, right? We want to be setting the expectation, no surprises. No matter what, whether you're coaching or consulting or in the middle, I do recommend that you have a signature method. So 3 to 5 steps or buckets to get your clients from pain to dream. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to show up as a teacher teaching the method, depending on your niche. But it does mean that you're in your niche, your space, because this is your area, right? You're coaching clients on this. And by the way, your signature method will change over time. It will be fluid, it will be dynamic, but you will know as a coach in your area. And again, this is part of what I help my clients do in Mod 2. I pull this out of their brains. We look at their coaching material. We're pulling it out of their coaching material where they were certified, what they did for work, like all the things going on in your head, or what you've been exposed to in terms of certification. And that's my job. I help you build out that method. But even if you're pure coach, I still recommend that signature method, because you will know that there are certain buckets that your client's going to have to dip their toe into to a certain extent in order to get them results. And I'll just give you just one example here, right? That no matter the niche, there's going to be a bucket that in one way or another is going to represent mindset, right? So we all know that's the whole thing of being a coach, right? Mindset. So even if you're like, Betty, I'm a pure coach, I don't want to do any training or teaching, and that's fine. There's still going to be certain buckets that you're like, listen, my clients can't skip over this bucket. We're going to have to address the mindset. We're going to have to address the fear. We're going to have to address whatever it is your people tell you during your ideal client avatar surveys, by the way. So part of how we come up with your method is, again, those surveys, man, we're getting a lot of intel. So that's part of how I help you build out that signature method. So even having a method, it doesn't mean you sit down with a client, you're like, I'm going to teach you this today, right? It's more about, hey, for example, I told you guys a million times, right, where I was certified. We learned a coaching skill on, it was called Taming the Gremlin. And it was essentially, and I might be, it's been like 8 years, so I might be, using the wrong words here, but essentially it was overcoming imposter syndrome, right? So it was a whole line of questioning, and it was pure coaching that I would, question my client on to help them overcome that gremlin, that imposter syndrome. And I knew as a coach, so I'm kicking off as a career coach, and I was career coaching clients in the corporate space, and a lot of them had that imposter syndrome, that gremlin that told them, you're too old to make a change, it's too late for you. And so I knew, I'm like, this is going to have to be an exercise that we include in the program. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. And if not, drop into the comments and let me know if you're with me, or anybody, if you're confused on that. Okay. I do want to look at some niche statements here. Meredith had one of them. I want to look at Meredith's, and then I think Carol or a couple people put some things in the Zoom chat. So I do want to look at the Zoom chat next for niche statements. And I want to make sure anybody that wants feedback on their niche statement, that we are covering the niche statement. Okay, so let me go right here. So in just a FYI, this is in the Facebook group, this homework thread, it was day 1. What's the urgent problem you're solving? So I know Meredith, let me just look at all comments, had dropped in here looking for feedback on her niche statement. So I'm going to kick off with Meredith, and then I'm going to go to the Zoom and see if anybody has questions left in the Zoom. Here we are. So let me put this here. Boom. Okay. So, and let's see, let me look and see. Yeah, it's hard to tell who's all here because I know some people are watching in the Facebook group. But if you're still here with me live and you want me to look at your niche statement, please, like, again, right now, put into the Zoom chat, whatever, raise your hand, or, and again, I'm happy to bring you off mute if you want to. And I think Carol dropped something in, and I'll go back up and look in Zoom. Okay, so here's for Meredith, for example. Okay. And even if you're not Meredith, I think if you guys listen to me talk through my feedback on this example, you're going to have an idea of, what you need to do with your niche statement, so that it's effective. And again, this is a whole module in my program. So but I'm trying to scratch the surface with you guys. So Meredith is doing both B2C and B2B. Okay. B2C is the business to client. The client is paying out of pocket. And B2B is the organization is paying for the coaching. Okay. So here's my feedback for Meredith. Okay. So she says, she has 3 different niche statements that she's looking at, and here's my feedback. So she says, when talking to individuals, okay, here's her first statement. She says, I help mid-career leaders who feel stuck and unfulfilled pivot into meaningful work so they can make an impact without starting over. So I am going to kick off by saying, can I make this a little smaller? That I think the this part, like what she's helping them with, I think that is really effective. She helps them pivot into meaningful work. And I do believe, and again, we would have to cross-check her statement with her ideal client avatar surveys. We would cross-check. So as a business coach, I want to know, do your people, these mid-career leaders, use words like meaningful work? And I call it water cooler talk. It's like if you're talking to your best work friend at the water cooler and you are telling them, oh man, I was up last night. I was in tears. I felt anxious over it. And you know what? I just need more meaningful work. I know I'm successful on paper, but I don't feel like the work I do is meaningful, and it's killing me inside. It's killing me inside. So if this is a phrase they use, I would want to cross-check this with her ideal client avatar surveys. Is this what they're saying? We would keep that. But so far, to me, that looks good. Pivot into meaningful work. And I love a niche statement. Not all niche statements need this, but she says, so they can make an impact without starting over. Now, not all niche statements need to have a without XYZ. But if you have a niche that has a major objection, and that objection is kind of why they're hesitant to work with you, then you may want to consider adding a without statement. And I would venture to guess that a lot of mid-career leaders feeling unfulfilled are scared or have limiting beliefs about moving into a different career or job or work. They're scared or they have limiting beliefs. Why? Because it's like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for decades or a decade. Do I really have to start over? And what Meredith is saying, well, no, I'm going to help you find meaningful work where you can make an impact without starting over. So to me, that is very powerful. That is very powerful. She took an objection. Oh, well, I can't work with you because I start from square one. And she's saying, you don't have to. You don't have to start over. We're going to take your transferable skills and we're going to use those to figure out meaningful work where you can make an impact without starting over. So I want to kick off by saying I really like that. Now, that being said, let me back off for a minute. She's looking at 2 potential directions when talking to individuals. She's looking at 2 potential directions. She's talking about the individuals who feel stuck and unfulfilled, these leaders, and they want meaningful work. Then she's talking about leaders who feel overwhelmed or ineffective, showing up with confidence and authenticity so they can lead powerfully without burning out. So my first recommendation, and I'm not even looking at the B2B down here. This is kind of more B2B. This is when she's talking to HR, right? Or buyers within the organization, maybe the C-suite, et cetera. So I'm not looking at that yet. I'm looking at the 2 B2C. So my first recommendation, and again, if Meredith and I are working together, if she's one of the first 5 to join, her and I are going to hash this out on our kickoff call. But just high level, without even speaking with Meredith, I would, and I'm telling all of you guys this, okay? If you're looking at different directions, I would strongly urge you to consider selecting one urgent problem to solve for your, in her case, B2C. So business to client. Okay. Now that being said, I'm saying select one to focus on. With that being said, um, you still will likely, like in this case, she's still likely going to touch on a lot of these topics, no matter who she works with. It's very likely that she's going to build a lot of the problems that she's touching on into her signature method, what I teach in Mod 2, her package, her signature method, 3 to 5 steps or pillars from pain to dream. But we're not talking about the method yet. We're talking about the message, the niche message. And your niche message has to be so clear. It has to be so to the point. If you confuse them, you lose them. So I do want to strongly urge everyone to select one urgent problem. Your one urgent problem. Now, why am I saying that? Your urgent problem you select, okay, that's going to affect one, the package you build, the steps that you take to get them from pain to dream. If you have 2 niche statements and 2 directions, these are 2 separate packages. I'm going to help you, transition careers. And for you, I'm going to help you lead more confidently and not burn out. Those are 2 separate coaching packages. Okay. So that's why first I say select one. What else does it affect? Your niche statement, your website copy. All your website copy should be in the words that your ideal client avatar uses. And again, let me just go to my website and give you an example. I've had, this is what I would, want to help you guys with here. The copy that you share on your website, your people should read that and be like, oh my gosh, Sarah or Darren or Amy or Carol, you're in my head. How are you in my head? So you see here on my website, I'm talking about pain points. So for example, I say, you're sitting in a corporate meeting watching others engage. You feel like a square peg in a round hole. Deep down, you know you were meant for something more than this. Okay. So when I'm talking by the way, these pain points, it came from me doing ideal client avatar surveys. So back to the point here at hand, if you have 2 niche statements, we got a problem because the pain points that this person feels are different than the pain points this person feels. Okay. So it's going to affect not only our package, but our website copy. Okay. We don't want our website copy to be muddled. It's also going to affect our social media copy. When you're posting online, your post should be just like your website copy. They shouldn't be generic. They should be so specific that somebody reads your copy and they're like, oh my gosh, you're in my head. That's exactly how I felt today. Okay. So if you have 2 niche directions, it's going to be tough to build you out a content marketing calendar because which way are we going? Right? Somebody following you is going to see incongruent posting. So that's my TED talk on, pick a lane, pick a lane, and it'll make it easier on you to build your business and on clients to be attracted to you. Okay. Now, with the 2 options she's looking at, option 1, I want to say to you guys and to Meredith, this option here was pretty spot on my niche when I first started out as a career coach. Pretty spot on. That was my niche. And I will say, for anybody considering a niche similar to this, it's not just career coaching, but it's identifying purpose. It's helping people identify and transition to something that is more their purpose, more meaningful, more impact, more the legacy they want to leave. Very successful space, a very successful space. Before I pivoted into business coaching, and I could have taken this, to the moon, but business, this is just the niche that I was meant to do. This is my expertise. This is my passion. This is what I do in my sleep. But before I made my transition, I remember I coached this space. I was helping executives who were unfulfilled. They looked successful on paper and they didn't want to start over, but they wanted to find their purpose and transition to a job that reflected that. I remember, and I'm just being totally transparent with you guys, before I made the niche switch, I was selling 6-month packages at around $12,000. Now I was working with typically corporate VP women who were unfulfilled. And that was price point. There was no now, and let me be clear. The price point worked because I was able to show the value of what was included. Let me be very clear. I didn't just slap on a price ticket. I was able to show the value. But my point is, this is a validated market. I can tell you that from experience. And of course, I've had clients do the same. Okay. Now, if Meredith or any of you decide to have a who that sounds like this who, I want to be clear. Instead of mid-career leaders, my recommendation would be to get more specific, to either pick a job title range. So either you could say something like corporate director to VP. I'm just making that up. That's an example. By the way, something you should know, whoever your who is, if you're looking at job titles or if you're looking at businesses, say like, you ever see out there people that work with 6-figure coaches or 7-figure coaches, whatever. This is just an interesting phenomenon. You will tend to attract not just the people who you state you're helping, you'll tend to attract also the people in the job title right below that, or making the amount of money right below that. Now, some of your niches, it won't matter. That's not the who. You're not going to talk about that. But I'm just saying in Meredith's case, or if you're any kind of leadership coach or career coach or whatever, just know that you will tend to attract people right below what you state. So for example, she wants to work mid-career. If she was to state corporate director to VP, she's probably still going to attract a good chunk of manager, corporate manager. Okay. So my recommendation would be either pick a job title range. Okay. Or if she doesn't want to focus on the job title range, consider focusing on an industry. Consider focusing on a specific industry. Going to make it so much easier for you to find clients, to attract clients. Think about your own network, right? So consider an industry. You could consider using a specific department. You could consider men versus women. You don't have to do that, but I'm just giving you examples. And in the academy, we have a whole lesson. We dig into how to select your who. But my bottom line is I would get much more specific than that. Okay. And in general, I want you guys to write down whatever your who is. You probably need to add 2 more layers to the who to make it easier for you to attract your who to you. Okay. Make it 2 more levels of specificity than you think you need to. Okay. So there's that piece of it. All right. Now, if she was to focus on this guy, I help leaders who feel ineffective or who feel overwhelmed or ineffective. I help them show up with confidence and authenticity so they can lead powerfully without burning out. Same feedback with the who. Way too vague. Way too vague. Need 2 to 3 more layers of specificity. Okay. Same feedback with the who. With the urgent problem, let's talk about the urgent problem. Okay. Here's the urgent problem. Here's what I would say. Here would be my question to Meredith. And for any of you looking at this that you're like, oh yeah, okay, I have a similar niche, or just in general, when I look at this, my question to Meredith would be, what is the urgent problem that is the focus that they, being who is your who, that your who, what is the urgent problem that your who tells you they'd pay anything to help solve? Right. So I'd be asking her that question, because here, to be honest, I see 2 different niche directions here. I see option 1 is kind of the overwhelm and burnout niche. So I see like that's a direction she's potentially going in, overwhelm and burnout. Or I see confidence. Okay, so overwhelm and burnout. Here's the burnout. So to me, that's one and the same. Overwhelm and go back. Overwhelm and burnout. That's one and the same to me. So that's option. So I see that as a niche, but I'm getting, okay, I'm going wild with my copy paste. I'm getting confused because I see that, but then I also see confidence. So how can I show up as my authentic self, but feel confident? but feel confident. So this part I'm seeing like imposter syndrome, confidence. How can I be authentically me? So to me, I still feel like even this niche statement needs to pick a lane. Is our does Meredith, and you guys should ask yourself this question too. Write this down. The question is, what do you want to be known for as it relates to your coaching niche? So Meredith is a leadership coach. Okay, great. What does she want to be known for? And that should be, there should be a sweet spot between what she wants to be known for and the urgent problem that her leaders, her who, and that's why I'm saying get specific, because every leader is going to give you a different urgent problem, right? A CEO is a leader. Their urgent problem's wildly different than a corporate manager. You see what I'm saying? We're going to have a challenge identifying the urgent problem unless our who is specific. So I think we need to pick a lane and decide, what do you want to be known for? And what's the urgent problem that your who will pay anything to have solved? Okay. So that's that. In terms of this guy down here, so now let's look at the B2B, and then I'm going to pause here and go back to the Zoom and finish up any other questions before we close out here soon. So now she's talking about, okay, what if I'm talking to HR or, B2B? I'm selling to a business. The business is making the buying decision. So I'm still going to say I help organizations. That's the who. I want a more specific who. I want a more specific who. I want to know because when she says I help organizations, we want whatever that organization is to see themselves in this statement. If they see this, I mean, technically, I'm an organization, technically, right? Technically, I've got a team, but is she wanting to work with, let me give you an example. What type of organization? What size? How many people are in? Is this a Fortune 100, a Fortune 500? Is this a solopreneur? Is this a 5 people? Like how big? What's the size? Is this virtual or is this brick and mortar? What's the industry? What's the industry? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we got to get way more specific because again, same problem as before with the leader. The urgent problem of a CEO of a Fortune 500 is going to be wildly different than a startup organization, a tech app, an app, a startup, right? It's just different. So we need to identify what type of organization. For the rest of this bit, develop confident, self-aware leaders who inspire their teams, navigate challenges effectively, and drive real impact without burnout or disengagement. That's pretty good. I'm seeing some good keywords in there. But here's the bottom line, and I do want y'all to write this down, okay? Once Meredith decides on who is her who, the specific organization, then she can run her ideal client avatar surveys to identify the urgent problem. Because just like I said before, the urgent problem of a C-suite, in a Fortune 500 is going to be different than if she's working with a pet shop, you know what I mean? Or with a virtual website development business. It's just wildly different. So you pick a lane with the who, and then run your ideal client avatar surveys. And this is going to come from your ideal client avatar survey. Okay, that's going to come from that input. We need to cross-check this messaging with your ideal client avatar survey answers. Okay, and by the way, I would recommend any of you who are B2B or selling to an organization or business, you need to be interviewing for your ideal client avatar surveys everybody and anybody who would be involved in making the buying decision. So whether that's, like she said, the HR team, like the director of HR, okay, then interview them. Maybe the director of HR says, well, in order for us to hire a coach, we need to get sign off from, I'm making this up, the CEO, the director of HR, learning and development, and then the director of the department whose leaders we're helping. Those are the 4 people we get sign off. technically, she really needs to do more ideal client avatar surveys so that every level of a potential person who might have to sign off on the decision, she's hearing their input, because the CEO will say something different than the HR department will say. So she really needs to gather all of those up. Okay, really important. And then how does she figure out what to ask so that we know what this needs to look like? Well, she's going to, sit down with different members of the organizational team who makes the decision, HR, CEO, etc. And she'll say things like, hey, when it comes to your leadership team, what's your biggest challenge? Or she'll say, hey, when it comes to, she'll say, what will happen if you don't get help with that challenge as it pertains to your leadership team? What will happen if you don't get the help with the leadership team that you just described? She'll ask questions like, hey, when it comes to your leadership team, what's the goal? What's the dream? What's the outcome? If I could sprinkle fairy dust on your leaders in your organization, what do you wish the goal would be that would be produced by your leadership team? And then they tell her, and she's going to say, and why is that so important? Why is it important for your organization to achieve that goal, or your leadership team to achieve that goal? By the way, when you ask during your ideal client avatar survey why, that's going to go in the so that of your I help who with what so that statement. Okay. So last thing, just call out here, when she talks about drive real impact, just as an example, right? I want to know, when she interviews members of the organization who make the buying decision to hire a coach, are they going to say, yeah, our urgent problem that keeps us up at night, we want our leaders to drive real impact? Is that what they're going to say? I don't know. Right? Or are they going to talk about, here's the thing. What is the bottom line that these HR leaders or CEOs are going to say is important to them when it comes to their leadership team? What's the bottom line? Is it driving impact, or is there something beneath that? Okay. I'm going to stop sharing here and check the chat. Bye, Sarah. Okay, I'm just still kind of scrolling here. Zoom user, haven't done any client avatar conversations. Obviously need to start. How do I find out how to structure that? Yeah, so Tabitha gave you the perfect answer. So definitely, if you need to, Zoom user, partner with Tabitha on getting the replays, or go to the Facebook group, look in the guides section of the Facebook group. Tabitha can give you that. We also have a YouTube link, and that all goes away Tuesday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Okay, Carol. Carol, I'm going to scroll. Because I think, so Carol, you said you dropped it in the Facebook group, but you have it here too. And Carol, is Carol still here? She is. If you want, and it's up to you, no pressure. You can come off mute if you want. Otherwise, you can hang in the chat. Up to you. But I'm going to give you some feedback. So here we go. Away we go. Up to you if you want to come off mute. So here we got Carol's niche statement. And Carol, you can come give me the old-fashioned interrupt if I'm going in the wrong direction. You let me know. So Carol says, I empower leaders. Well, straight off, I'm going to say, Carol, I love this, that you said empower. And everybody watching, take a note. You do not have to say help. I help. You can get snazzy. So empower is a great word. By all means, you can.
Well, my coaching name is Empowered Entrepreneur, so it's also part of the reason.
Yes, Carol. Well, I'm with you. With you.
And also, I feel like it's also luxury language, right? So not just the help and yeah. So that's part of the reason.
Yes, luxury language. I love it, Carol. Yes. Love that. Yeah, and you're right. It is. It's luxury language. So I'm already with you. Boom. And so let me read the whole thing, and then I'm going to circle back. I empower leaders to break free from self-doubt and their external expectations so they can boldly claim the life, leadership, and travel experiences they desire without guilt or hesitation. All right. So we got a lot to work with here. That's the good news. And that's the tough news is there's a lot of potential directions to go. This is a great first draft. And I do want to say to you, Carol, and to everybody listening, when it comes to your niche statement, what you see Carol doing here and Meredith and everybody who put their niche statement up, please, I empower you all to get a draft out. And if you feel so bold, post it in the Facebook group. And if you want my feedback, tag me. We need to get your drafts out, your iterations out. So well done on your first iteration. And there will be a couple iterations of this, right? So this is a great iteration. So let's take a look. So you already know, Carol, you know where I'm going to go with this. We want with the who, I'm going to ask you to break the who down more specific. I'm going to break it apart to get even more specific with the who so that A, you can attract more clients, and B, you will have an easier time building your business and creating copy and messaging. Just because, again, there's so many types of leaders. A C-suite leader is going to have wildly different urgent problems than, I'm a leader, right? In my business, I have different urgent problems than them, right? Etc. So, action item 1 is I want you to I would probably find 3 more layers of specificity. So I'd get 3 more layers. So whether that's a job title range, an industry, a department, male versus female, I could go on and on and on, and we dive deep into that in module 1. But I would add 3 more, not just leaders. Let's find 3 more descriptors. Does that part make sense so far, Carol?
Yes, it does. And actually, I wouldn't say that I haven't done any ideal client surveys, obviously, but I would say that I shifted to leaders because I originally said just women in general, and I
Good for
felt,
you. You're already getting more specific. Yeah.
but I was dealing with a lot of men also that were getting coaching from me, and I was like, okay, and like we're really like successful in just
Yeah.
our experience and whatnot. So I was like, okay, I can't keep talking about I just coach women when that's not the reality. I'm coaching a lot of men that are finding success
Yeah.
in their businesses as well, in starting businesses actually. So I was like, okay, so that's kind of why I then shifted and made it more broad. But I totally agree with kind of needing to be more specific with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And can I share with you a couple, not really observations, but things that come up for me when you say that, Carol?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, I mean, first of all, makes perfect sense that you're like, okay, I am doing some coaching and I am or have worked with some men and they did get some success. So why am I saying women when that's not the reality of what I'm doing? So that totally hear you. I want to give you now, first off, I do want to tell everybody this. In no world do you have to choose men versus women, not just for you, Carol, but everybody listening to this, that by no, like I don't in my academy, right? I am not a like male versus women. I work with, all. But the reason I feel confident in not having to go that specific, men versus women in the academy, is that I feel I am pretty specific with my who in the academy, meaning I'm not saying I help new coaches. I am saying I help corporate renegades, right? So these are people in corporate who already know they want to become coaches. They're specifically making that transition. So because I have like a segment of the market of like entrepreneurs and then coaches and then corporate to coaches, I feel like I've gotten narrow enough that I don't need to like pick a lane. All right. That being said, when I used to career coach, and at that time, it was a little bit more broad in terms of my who. My who at the time was I help unfulfilled corporate director to VP women. That was my who at the, and by the way, I tested various versions and iterations of that. Um, because for me, that who, men versus women, it just wasn't as specific as the who I have now, if that makes sense. The other thing I want to say is when I was career coaching and my who, blah blah blah, women, corporate director, women, unfulfilled. I had two examples, and probably more, but just two that come to mind. Where at the time, my value I was giving, I wasn't going on camera, I was camera shy, which, by the way, is a lesson. I wish I would have gotten on the camera earlier, but I still hit six figures my first year blogging. And so I showed up blogging. That was my value. And I had two different men reach out to me from the military. So they were coming back from the military, they were looking for work, and both of them separately didn't know each other. Different times reached out to me. Hey, I know you work with women. I mean, I had pink in my branding colors, okay? And they said, but I've been reading your blogs and they speak to me. Your language speaks to me, and it's your style, your energy, something, it's landing, it's resonating. Would you consider working with me? And of course my answer is yes, if we get on a call and our energy aligns and the scope of what you're looking for aligns with the urgent problem I'm helping people solve. If those two things are the case, then of course. And I ended up working with both of them, and they were two of the favorite clients I ever had. So my story with that is to say that just because we have a very specific who, whatever our who is, that doesn't mean that if the right human comes along and says, you know what, Carol, I've been reading your blogs or reading your social media or whatever, and it speaks to me, but I know I'm not the typical person. Absolutely. If the energy is aligned and if the scope of what they want delivered is within, the signature method of your outcome, great. But it is easier to attract clients and to outreach when you're like this and make exceptions. It's easier to do that than to be like this. And then you're just in a sea of like an ocean rather than like a smaller lake. Does that part of it make sense?
Yes, it does. And that's going to lead to the problems that I kind of state because they're all
You
over
got it.
the place.
You got it. That's exactly right. Yeah. The problems, I
It's an
mean,
ocean.
yeah, there's so many types of leaders out there. So that's the thing. Until we land the plane with the type of leader, we really are still in the air with the rest of this. So here's what I would say. You have two different potential next steps you could take. There's two options. Oh, I'm going wild with highlights. Hold on. Let me just get that off. So you have two options for next steps. Option one is to first get really specific, right? Three more or levels of specificity with your who. And once you do that, then you're going to find 3 to 5 of those people. And let me move my Zoom box here. And you're going to come back here. And you're going to run ICA surveys. And those people will tell you their urgent problem and their goal, dream, outcome. And that will feed this. You won't be all over the place. It'll be tight. There will be trends. And that's part of what I do in the academy. After my clients run their surveys, I have something called a trend worksheet. So after you run your surveys, we need to look for the trends that, okay, I ran 5 surveys and look, 3 to 4 of these people said this word, this phrase. So that's option one as far as the next step. Option two, so you can go this way as well. And there's not really a right or wrong. It's more your preference, Carol. Option two is to say, well, wait a second, Betty. I don't know. I don't know if I'm so attached to the who. I don't know if that's my attachment is the who. I think I'd rather put my stake in the ground with the urgent problem, that I'm known for helping people solve. I'd rather put my stake in the ground here, Betty. And once I put my stake in the ground there, then I want to backtrack and say, okay, this is my speciality. I love this topic. I could speak on it all day. Betty, if you made me go live 30 minutes, I could just riff on this topic. Then I'm going to backtrack and say, hey, who has this problem? Question mark. So let me ask you this, Carol, which option resonates with you more in terms of next steps to get to land the plane?
Okay, so the reality is that from the conversations that I have had and from the clients that I've had, it's about confidence. And that is actually my line on LinkedIn. It's
Cool.
empowering leaders with the confidence to embrace the unknown. And I think I shared
Okay.
that with you previously.
Yeah.
For this round, I, for some reason, just was wanting to play around with it and shifted to that. I guess kind of the state that I'm in and just everything that's going on. I felt like this encompassed all of that, but it makes me think that I want to go back to my original statement of empowering leaders with the confidence, because that is those are the exact words that have been shared with me in
Yeah.
my calls, in my feed interest surveys. It's always confidence, imposter syndrome, procrastination. Like those are the words. None
Yeah.
of these really are.
Yes. There
So
you go. There you go.
that's a wrap,
So
kind
so
of.
you're there. So yeah, you're known as the confidence coach. So you're just like somebody's dealing with imposter
Women's
syndrome. They're like,
empowerment. All of my friends, they're like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking about a panel on women's empowerment, and I thought about you."
yes,
Yes, that is
yes.
true.
And I even off the cuff, and again, Carol, we can talk more offline about this, but um and you know, you've been around for a minute. I just want to grab you through the screen and bring you onto the academy. I'm like, girl, it's your time. It's your time. But there's a couple of different directions we can go with this then in terms of the who, right? It's like, okay, I want to focus on that imposter syndrome, that confidence, and procrastination, right? Sometimes comes from the perfectionism and blah, 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 right? All those things have to do with each other. So just off the cuff, and there's a lot of different ways we can go with the who. Again, I'm thinking back to when I was career coaching, and I'm not saying to go that route, but I have a memory, and maybe stop me if I talked to you about this before. There was this book on okay, I'm gonna have to Google it now. It was like called, I'm gonna go Imposter Syndrome Woman's Leader book. This was such a good book. It is called, here it is. Did I tell you about this already, Carol? Sanity check me. The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women.
No, we've never talked
Oh
about this.
my gosh. I'm going to just put this link in the chat,
Yeah.
although it's like a crazy long link. But this is like um, this is the book on successful on paper women that are dealing with that imposter syndrome. And it's fascinating because they talk about like there's like 5 or 6 different types of women that fall into that category.
Mm.
But anyways, highly recommend if you're going to go in that direction. Um, but anyways, back to this with, okay, who's my who now? Just off the cuff, and this may not be the direction you want to go, but just off the cuff, it's like, I remember as a career coach, I was coaching, some of these women were so successful. It was like wild. I mean, to the point where at the time, I mean, I was new to coaching. I felt imposter syndrome coaching them. I was like, whoa, you coming to me? Like you, like this is like a really successful woman. And they'd get on these calls, and some of them wanted more leadership coaching. And I'll never forget, like, numerous women would say they're like high powered executives. Betty, I know how I look on LinkedIn and on paper, and I know, it looks like, I'm very successful and I'm grateful, but I walk into a meeting and sometimes I feel this big. And to get my voice heard, it's like sometimes I feel like, nobody's listening. I struggle to get a seat at the table. I struggle getting to the next level in my career. That imposter syndrome, nobody knows it because it's hush hush. It's a dirty word. We're not supposed to say it, right? Oh, I have that, and there are these successful executive women, but the fact is, they would pay anything to get help with that so that they could get a seat at the table, go to the next level in their career, feel confident, not feel sick to their stomach when they had to get up in a meeting and talk, etc. So I will say I already know leadership coaching. I just remember because I was there, and I've had clients do this too. Executive women, imposter syndrome, like that's a thing. That is a thing, and that goes right along the lines with that book. Other options too, right? If we think about, for example, I think I heard you say starting a business, right? So yeah, if I'm starting a business for the first time and I'm in my head and I'm like, oh, I'm going to fail. I can't do this. Who
Mhm.
am I to build a business like this? Who do I, right? So there's a lot of this mindset component to building the business, right? That's the other direction you could go. And if you go this direction, we still need you to get specific in terms of your who. I still want you to choose three specifics. I want to know if you're focusing on they're starting a business. I want to know, like, can you at least give me the type of business? Can you give me something? Give me something so that when I see your LinkedIn profile, I'm like, yes, I know exactly. Right? Like, is she working with coaches? Is she working with entrepreneurs? What type of entrepreneurs? Solopreneurs. So like, and I know there's more than this with confidence and imposter syndrome, but just off the cuff, those two just seem to kind of pop up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the leadership coaching for sure. So,
Yeah,
this just kind of thinking through it and you breaking it down is making me think of it even more. The
cool.
reality is that those that I've dealt with are not actually leaders, but I see the leadership in them
Of
and I
course.
recognize it for themselves. So the reality is that if I'm saying I empower leaders, if you don't necessarily see yourself and understand as a leader, you don't even know I'm talking to you.
That's it. You got it, girl. That's marketing. That's marketing.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's definitely a disconnect that I can see why
you
some
got it.
my message is not necessarily hitting them because they don't even recognize themselves as a leader first. And so I
You
have
got
to get
it.
to that point. So
You got
one
it.
of the things that I am thinking of that is a common denominator with everyone that I've worked with is that they're first gen immigrants. So
Ah
they're
ha
first
ha. Like that.
generational. So that's way more specific. Again, you're
Yes.
think very deep, right? And that first generational aspect is the reason why we normally have leadership in us because we have had to be that for our parents. We're
Yes.
language. So I think that might actually be more accurate.
Ooh, I got the chills.
Yeah.
That was when I get goosebumps. It's usually my clients are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's. I hope this gives you somewhere to kick off with,
Yeah. Yeah.
and let's you've got your urgent problem. Let's land the plane with the who.
Yeah.
So feel free to process, chew on it, and post it in the group or book a discovery call and let's connect. Either way,
Yeah.
but great start.
Yeah.
Good job, Carol.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm going to, I know we're over, and Tabitha, you can drop off, girl.
Yeah. I actually
I
drop off too because I have
you
a
need to. That's fine. Yeah, we're
thank
way over.
you so much.
Yeah,
This is great,
absolutely. Thank you,
Betty. I really
Carol.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up here. And if I miss anyone's question, Tabitha, you can drop off too. I'm gonna just wrap up in like the final 5 minutes here. Um, if I missed anybody's question, hopefully I didn't, but if I did, drop into the chat and say, "Girl, you missed my question," or just come off mute. I'm gonna wrap up. Last couple minutes here. A couple final questions that I've been hearing. So again, people are asking, what do we do once we book the discovery call with you? So the agenda on the discovery call, people are asking, like, do I prepare? What do I do? No, you don't have to prepare. The agenda is three different things. Value. So I'm essentially going to look at, what challenges you're dealing with, even if you're just starting. Okay, I'm going to look at your challenges and I'm going to talk about what are the next steps we got to take to address that challenge. You're going to get that. I'm calling it a folder of free resources, but it's really it's a document of free resources, right? So once we get on the call, I'm going to send you that document. The second part of the discovery call, besides just the value bit of it, is we're also going to look at your goals, right? I want to get clarity on not just your financial goals, but your goals in general, right? What are you hoping to achieve with your coaching business? Okay. I need to know these two things. A, I want to provide you some value on the call, and B, I'm trying to figure out, right, in terms of if we're looking at ways to work with me, what makes the most sense, because it's tailored to you and what you've got going on. Last part of the agenda is the solution, right? And so this is where, again, this is the discovery call. I want to help identify the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. Even if you're just starting, I want to figure out what is the potential roadblock. Or if you've already been doing the thing, you're not where you want to be yet, right? And by the way, none of us are. There's always, we're coaches too, so we're always looking for the next level. I want to see what's in your way, right? What's currently standing in your way, and then we'll talk about potential solutions. Now, if I feel like you're a fit, and vice versa, right? We both have to feel that way. Then, of course, I'll give you a rundown of package options, pricing options, and I'll make a recommendation, right? And then that way, no matter what, you're leaving that discovery call with value in one way or another, and information. Okay, that's the bottom line. You get value and clarity out of the discovery call. And Tabitha, she's still here. She can't, even when I tell her to drop off, she's such a hard worker. Tabitha, if you are still here, would you drop the link in one more time for these guys to book their call? That is so weird. My mouse has transitioned from my big computer to my little computer. That was bizarre. Okay. So what are some other questions? Some people I have asking, oh, this is a big question that I keep getting asked this question. Okay. How do I know if the timing is right for me to start this program? What if I'm still in my corporate job? What if I'm still getting certified as a coach? So, and this is kind of what I want to leave you guys on tonight. Okay. This is important. Well, again, whether you work with me or not, this is a question that I get asked a lot, and everybody needs to be thinking about timing. Okay. It is recommended. Let me take this off. Timing. It is recommended, okay, that you start working on your coaching business. It is recommended that you start working on your coaching business while you are still in your corporate job or your full-time job. Again, if you got laid off, or whatever the case is, or you actively chose to leave because it was a toxic environment, listen, like I said, I got laid off too, so I've been there. But if you are still currently in your line of work, we want to get started. Now, why is that? Because it takes stress out of feeling like you have to rush in standing up your business. Okay, essentially, it's helping to fund building your business, being in your full-time gig, and the idea of the transition from corporate to coach, right? Part of what happens when you join the academy is we are mapping out a blueprint where you can get your business fully up and functioning, both back end and front of house. We should be seeing, and this is the goal, right? But I can't give you a magic pill, right? You also have to do the work. So that's the collaboration piece. You should be hitting those monthly financial revenue targets. So by the time you make the transition, it's a smooth transition. There's no anxiety around it. There's no, oh my gosh, there's no panic, right? It should be a smooth transition. So if you're still at your full-time gig, this is the time to start. Okay. We want it to be a smooth transition. If you're still getting certified as a coach, and I do have some clients that are still in certification mode, the ask for this program is that you can commit, we're asking you to commit approximately, on average, 4 to 6 hours to your business per week, and you are good to go. That's the ask. And I know some weeks you're sick, or you're on vacation, or life happens, or whatever, and that's fine. That's why this is a 1-year business incubator. We're building in life, right, and a full-time gig and all the things. But that's what we're asking. So if you're getting certified and you're like, do I have the time? I'm getting certified. We do have a healthy mixture of some clients with certifications and some clients who are not fully certified yet. They're still working on that. So that the question to ask yourself, can I commit 4 to 6 hours to my business per week on average? And here's where I want to leave you guys with tonight. And this is important. So lean in here on this piece of it. When it comes time, okay, when it comes to the question, when is the right time for me to start getting business support, to start working in the academy with Betty? I want you to think about something called decision loops. Decision loops, okay? Now, I don't know if anybody here, drop into the chat if you've ever heard about the term decision loops. But decision loops are the most important make or break factors in our success. That's another question people will ask. What does it take to be successful? And we know that's, you know, subjective. It depends on your definition of success. But in general, decision loops are the most important make or break factors in our success. What's a decision loop? Your decision loop is the pattern that you reinforce by your thoughts and your actions. Okay. So here is an important question as I leave you guys tonight that I want you to ponder at key moments like this, right? There's about 24 hours left of the doors to the academy being open, where you have the chance to, if we've already run a discovery call and you have the pricing, you have until Tuesday, midnight Eastern Standard to submit payment to join. If you haven't booked a discovery call yet, at minimum, you got to get it on the calendar by end of day Tuesday, okay, in order to get that bootcamp bonus bundle. So here's the important question I want you to ponder at a key moment like this when you're standing up your coaching business. And please write this down, okay? Imagine you are the CEO of your coaching business. Imagine you are the CEO of your coaching business who you want to be. Imagine you're the CEO of your coaching business who you want to be. So you're like, I'm not making 6 figures yet, or I'm not making 7 figures yet, or I haven't built the thing yet, or I'm not working with enough clients yet. Put that aside. Imagine you're the CEO you want to be, you want to become. Imagine you're that person now. The way to make decisions is, what decision would the CEO who I want to become make? Okay. So I'm again, for the people in the back, that's how you make decisions about your business. If I was the CEO that I want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, if I was that CEO today, what decision would that CEO make? And here's where I want to leave you with. Waiting for the perfect conditions means you're going to wait forever. You're going to wait forever. There will never be a perfect time. Okay. There will never be a perfect time. And take this from a gal that's gone through being laid off twice, going through cancer. And again, I'm not a special unicorn. All of y'all are probably on this call with different things in your personal lives that could potentially be, well, it's not the perfect time. And there will never be a perfect time. Okay. When your thoughts and your decisions center around this notion of, hey, when I get X, then I will do Y. Once I get X, I'll do Y. Or once I reach this level, then I'll do that. If that's your train of thought, y'all, that's a decision loop. And that's you getting caught in that decision loop. You're caught. You hear what I'm saying? Is this making sense? It's like quicksand. And you do not want to be there for long when it comes to taking action to stand up your coaching business the right way. Okay. Something I know to be true from firsthand experience. Okay. I know this to be true. The work creates the result. The work, when it comes to building your business, will create the result. Okay. And listen, whether it's in your business, whether it's in personal development, whether it's in fitness, whether it's in relationships, Nothing we've ever accomplished with pride in life has come from saying, well, when things are perfectly perfect, it'll fall in my lap. Okay. It ain't going to happen. When you, and this is me holding up a mirror because I want y'all to succeed so much. All right. When you show up, and you showed up this week. So the question is, midnight tomorrow night, what does showing up continue to look like, right? When you show up, results happen. Yes, the Corporate to Six Figure Coach Academy is a time commitment. Yes, the Corporate to Six Figure Coach Academy is a financial commitment. But if your current actions, thoughts, and decision loop are keeping you stuck in your corporate job instead of fulfilling that dream of standing up your coaching business, the question is, and this again, write this down if you're writing things down or type it out. What is stopping you from breaking the cycle? What's stopping you from breaking the cycle? Okay. Every single decision you make henceforth, okay, will either take you one step closer to continuing the cycle, the decision loop, or it's going to be one step closer to breaking it. All right. What you've been lacking so far in keeping you from moving forward has been making the decision to get the strategy and support that is required to ditch the corporate gig and replace your corporate income with your calling, your mission, your legacy, your coaching business. The Corporate to Six Figure Coach Academy is here to provide you 5 things: strategy, systems, support, guidance, and accountability. Boom. That's the academy. Strategy, systems, support, guidance, accountability. Without those, you're building your business in a bubble. You're back to doing what you were doing before. All right. With our 3 times a month coaching sessions, tactical implementation, support sessions, accountability, layers of accountability, and community, we have set the stage. The way you'd approach your decision loop today and tomorrow, our last day, is going to determine if you'll join my long list of clients who have achieved their version of success and built their dream, their coaching business. So I will leave you with that. If you haven't booked a discovery call yet, where we talk package and pricing, if you haven't talked package and pricing, let's talk. Book the call. If we have discussed package and pricing, you got until Tuesday, midnight, Eastern Standard Time, to break that decision loop. All right. That is my TED Talk. Okay. If anybody has more questions that I didn't get to, post them in the Facebook group and let me know. We've got about 24 plus 3, 27 more hours till the workshop is over. The replays are pulled down. The bonus bundle goes away. So make sure that you're getting those questions answered. Again, last little flash of this bad boy here. Okay. Again, the boot camp bonus bundle, $8,000 worth of bonuses. This is only good until Tuesday at midnight. You either, if you've already talked pricing with me, have to move forward and submit pricing by Tuesday at midnight, or you at minimum need to book your call. And if you book your call tomorrow, but you can't meet with me tomorrow, it's okay if you book it a couple days later, but it's got to get on the calendar by tomorrow. Okay. Bonus 1, 1,000 to 3,000 off. Bonus 2, that's the one that's going to go rapid. First 5 people get a private 60-minute strategy session with me. Bonus 3, social media profile optimization so we can attract clients. Bethany, I love that she talked about that during the interview. That was a big piece of how she landed that major sale, was that they looked at her LinkedIn profile and it was optimized. I shouldn't value this at 500, right? You have an optimized profile and you make a massive sale. All of a sudden, this becomes much more valuable. Coach in your pocket, 30-day Voxer access to me, and half a day live cash injection workshop. Okay. So that is my last reminder to you. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So tomorrow is our last session, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, tomorrow, we are going to land on a note, 30,000-foot view, 5 mistakes coaches make that prevent them from replacing that corporate income. I'm going to talk you through. These are based on mistakes that I've learned. Okay. I like to think of myself as like the hamster, the guinea pig. I don't want to think of myself as a hamster, the guinea pig. I get out there and test it, and then I'm going to tell you it works or it doesn't work. So 5 mistakes coaches make prevent them from replacing their income based on mistakes I've learned, based on mistakes I've seen other coaches make. And I'm going to share this with you ahead of time to ensure you don't make the same mistakes. This is meant to save you time and money. I will not only share the mistake, I'm going to talk about how you can avoid each mistake. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. Today was a long one. Tomorrow will not be this intense. The Q&A usually, we spend more time. So for those of you still here, you're warriors. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. Book those discovery calls before our calendar slots fill up. And I will talk to y'all one last time tomorrow. All right, y'all have a wonderful evening. See you tomorrow.